Welcome everybody to Back to School Night. My name is Mr. Hart, your Scholar Social Studies teacher. My email is up there, Hart, H-A-R-T, first name Sebastian, so that's an S, at cabrillo.k12.ca.us. I hope that this Back to School Night video is only a launching off point for us to have more communication this year. So, even though we are in remote learning, I am usually in classroom P4 and hopefully we'll return to it. So welcome to Digital P4. And once again, my name is Mr. Hart. I'm your Scholar Social Studies teacher, and for this video, I will be covering government and economics. We'll be starting with economics, which is first semester, but before we dive into the content, I think it's always important to know, who's the educator educating our scholars. So a little bit of background about me. I decided to become a high school history teacher back when I was in high school. I fell in love with the content, but I also totally fell in love with teaching and pedagogy in general. I was the first in my family to go to college. My parents immigrated from Germany, so if you happen to hear my accent, that's because I did kindergarten and preschool in Germany. Even though I was born in the Bay Area in Fremont, my family gave it a second to go in the US, and we were able to stay from first grade on. So I did all my education in the Bay Area. I graduated from James Logan High School. I was the first in my family to go to college, and I'm a big supporter of higher education after high school. If any scholars want to take that endeavor on, I'm a big supporter, and I just want to say it's senior year, so scholarships is a big thing, especially if there's a little bit of time with remote learning and everything. I highly encourage everyone to be filling out scholarships. It helped me a lot when I went to college. So in college, I went to Cal State East Bay. I decided on what occupation I wanted, and I figured out how much money I could afford, and I decided on a state school. So I went to Cal State Hayward at the time, which is now East Bay. And many years later, I went back for my teaching credential there as well. Always enjoyed my education there. In terms of teaching, I gave private music lessons and did proctoring of SAT, ACTs, and did little student teaching TA type jobs all the way through college. But I officially started subbing in 2009 in the district I graduated from. And then later on, I decided to do my student teaching, and I did it in AP Gov at James Logan High School. I then went on to intern 8th grade history at Alvarado Middle School. These are New Haven Unified School District, which is Union City. And then I moved over to OUSD, which is Oakland, and I taught 7th grade history as well as art at Roots. And then since 2015, I landed my dream job, and I've been working at Half Moon Bay High School. Go Cougars, and I hope to be here for many more years. So the lessons are most definitely important, right? All of the content, but the content is important to develop life skills as well. So the courses are important because it's the last time our scholars are going to get this information before adulthood, and if they don't go for higher education and study social sciences, it might be the last time. So it's important, and I want to make sure we get really good this year at, analyzing primary sources, focus on our critical thinking, make sure we are developing our personal historical empowerment. It's just a concept of, we know where we come from, so we can help create a vision of where we want to go in the future. It's not, we don't study history, or history doesn't, it's not doomed to repeat itself. We study it so we can, develop a roadmap of how we can make the world a better place and our lives as well. Working on hopefully public speaking as much as I can with this remote platform, and as much as we can, really still focusing on that group and individual work, as well as much as we can fit in with what we're doing. So keep in mind, as we're a team, if you ever hear of anything that's going well or not well, please always reach out and encourage your scholars to as well. If we're focusing on the actual content, we are started this year with one semester of Econ and then one semester of government, so I will start with economics. It's required for graduation and is a semester-long course. It introduces basic economic principles and current economic issues with a focus on the American economy. Students will examine components of the American economy, such as price, competition, business, and banking institutions. We will also examine issues related to the economy as a whole through empowerment and labor issues, the role of the government in the economy, and selected topics on global economics. It's a great year, and if you're never were a big fan of econ, how I describe it is a lot of the scholars come in thinking, it's about money, and I'm like, nah, it's not a study about money. It's the study about decision making. And if any of you were old grads from Half Moon Bay High School, I had the pleasure of teaching with Putnam for a year, and Putnam also taught econ, and he said it so poetically. He said, economics is common sense made confusing. It's like analyzing not only the aggregate of how society makes decisions, but also ourselves, and analyzing ourselves like, yeah, there's scarcity, so we do have to make decisions, so we should consciously make them to make them the best they can be for us. It's a great course. And then second semester, we're going to be moving on to government, which will be nice because it'll be post-election, so we can actually then, use that most recent election then as a case study. But American government is required for graduation as well. It's a semester-long course. The purpose of this course is to equip each student with the knowledge that he or she needs to become a productive and participating member of the greater democratic republic in which we live. The course is rigorous and requires students to master their content through application of concepts to real-world situations. So, I've already started in terms of encouraging scholars every single day to watch a little bit of the news, engage with what's going on. I'm going to create unit projects. I'm going to run hopefully through econ and government, making sure, they're actively finding information out about what's going on in the world, as well as analyzing that bias so they can, create their own philosophies, and so your scholars can have conviction in what they believe, so they can feel confident that they're empowered to go make the world and their lives better. What do I expect? Well, every student to show up every day ready to learn. This means a positive work attitude and all the supplies. I only get 2 times for 50 minutes, but outside of that, there's 50 minutes of homework for each of those days, and then 50 minutes on Wednesday too. So there's more homework time than in-class time this year. That's a total flip. And because of that, it means a positive work attitude when we come to our Zoom meetings, but also when they sit down and do work outside of my class. With only that limited amount of time, there is a chunk being done outside of class. And if Netflix is on, or a phone is also on, or getting interrupted with messages and stuff like that, the work's going to end up taking twice as long. And I always try to do small chunked, very achievable assignments, and I'll always keep the workload, very aware of how much they have to do. But I want to encourage you that we are totally a team, and hopefully we can connect more. And tonight can be just a starting point. So if you would like me to set you up with a Guardian account for your Scholars Google Classroom, feel free to email me your email. Just give me a personal email, and I'm going to get you set up on your Scholars Google Classroom. This will allow you to see the stream as well as all their assignments. The stream is our bulletin board. I put up every single minute of every single class, so if a student's ever absent, or if you ever want to know minute by minute what we're doing in class, it's there for you. I put out our notes and reminders on everything from encouraging to tech tips to I'm going to try and use it to help bridge this digital divide as more. I'm always on top of grading. I get the grading always in quick on Google Classroom. You can see the overall grade, all of the comments I make. So feel free to reach out, and I would really appreciate it. You can help your scholars, stay organized and make sure that all of their homework's coming in and complete. I do wanted to point out, I'm glad I mentioned scholarships, but I also want to mention community service, because we have senior scholars we're talking about. If they get a 4.0 but they don't have their 35 hours, they don't get a high school diploma, and that would be an absolute shame. And I just want to make sure that with COVID and everything else going on, you're aware it's a requirement. The 35 hours, most definitely has got to get documented. They can sign it to me when they can complete them. We have compiled, your counselors have compiled a huge list of organizations that are still doing community service during this time period if those hours need to still be completed. But don't forget about that. That's a big important one. So if you have 2 or 3 more hours you need to get done, let's make sure to get those done now. So right on, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. I realize I'm already well over, so thank you. Deeply appreciated. Just want to throw up my contact once more, and let's just make it an awesome, enjoyable, successful year for all. Go Cougars, and thank you so very much.